Listen, that's not just Steve saying that. I have people at grocery stores telling me. I have people that run bed and breakfasts telling me this. I have listeners calling in going, yeah, you drive along and there's troops crawling all around the side of the road and up the hills, and there's helicopters. But then I go in another bed and breakfast this morning, knock on the door, lady invites me in for coffee. She goes, yeah, I go out and look for dinosaur bones and pick flowers, and the Blackhawks fly right over. And she said, this just happened to me last week, just right outside town, because there's all these Indian arrowheads and fossils, and she was showing us dinosaur little fossils she found and stuff, dinosaur teeth, dinosaur gallstones, or stones, all this crazy stuff. And everybody we talk to is being harassed. This whole place is crawling, and this is real.
Alex on the ground in Hardin, Montana. We'll be back after this. It's the Alex Jones Show, Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.tv.
Live. We are here at the Hardin Detention Facility in Hardin, Montana. We have Becky Shea, the spokesman for American Police Force, here at this detention facility. Steve Quayle has major breaking news he's going to cover after he talks to Becky Shea, but I wanted to invite Steve on today because he originally really broke this, and he broke the felonies last Friday when he called me. I was so busy I didn't get on my radar screen until Sunday. It didn't break officially in mainstream news to the Billings Gazette yesterday. And so it's the front page of the Billings Gazette again today that this Serb gentleman is this 14-time felon. But I wanted to let Steve be able to talk to Becky Shea because she's been very, very helpful and has not been secretive like the other folks out here. So I wanted to hand the phone to her for 5 minutes, and Steve Quayle's going to give us huge breaking news and developments, and then we'll throw it back to Jason Burmis, and I'll call in later in the next hour to recap this after the tour is complete. Steve Quayle, here is Becky Shea.
Hi, Becky.
Hey, Steve, we were supposed to talk today. What a strange way to do it on Alex's phone, huh?
Well, yeah, that's wonderful, and thank you so much. Here's some of the questions that I think really need to be answered, okay? There has seemed to be a systematic effort to hide the true ownership, and I understand DPS, I understand the attorney Maziar Mapi, describing the Santa Ana, California ownership, etc. But when you go to Angelino, or Eddie Angelino, have you ever met with him personally?
No, Steve, I haven't, and I just want to let you know that, and just to be fair, I'm telling you up front, and I hope your listeners, are we on the air? Are your listeners here with us? I just had Alex hand me a phone. I don't know who I'm talking to altogether. Okay, we're on the air. I am not going to release the name of anyone we're affiliated with. And I know I've visited with Mr. Mafi. The other name that you mentioned is not a name that I recognize. I can speak and will only speak for APF. I can't speak to other corporations that you visited with.
Okay.
The other thing that I want to let your listeners know, we are sitting in the edge. We are sitting in my black SUV. But there is no other. I am the only person with APF equipment in Hardin. There is no other equipment from APF in Hardin other than me and my laptop in this car.
Well, I got to tell you then, Becky, that contradicts multiple eyewitnesses that said initially there were 12, and then it went down to 3. And I have posted on my website the actual photographs of the seal that said American Police Force. And so here's the question: why was
okay? Let me clarify for you. The seals were magnetic blockers that are gone. And I challenge you, and respectfully, Steve, I really do, I challenge you respectfully to find good proof that there were 12 vehicles in this town. Only 3 came into town, and I got one of them.
Okay, and forgive me. With all due
respect to your sources, there were not 12 APF vehicles in this town.
Okay, now let's go to the issue. The privatization of police force in Hardin, okay? The idea was that there were those decals, and obviously someone gave the order to take them off because it was causing controversy when apparently, and since you won't discuss the ownership of the company, and I respect that, okay? But I'm only going to tell you that there's independent verification that has been supplied to both Alex Jones and myself from people in the law enforcement community showing...
No, it's Defense Product Solutions.
Yeah, absolutely. foreign ownership and aliases used that would, I think, make most Americans go, there's something going on. Now, are you familiar with the main reason why Alex, myself, and others are concerned when we hear about the privatization and the takeover of police forces in America? You are. So, I mean, again, I don't know.
Let me explain. Let's talk about that privatization issue, okay?
Okay.
Under Montana law, the only people who can, the only entity that can provide law enforcement services is local government.
So why they have the hold on one second, Becky. Hold on one second, Steve. Steve, are you getting it that another cutout is Defense Product Solutions out of Karachi, Pakistan? Because that's where the website goes to American Police Force. Yeah, and when I say it to Becky, her eyes light up.
That is an additional cutout for Kuwait, okay? And just, I want to put Becky on notice. Becky, not on notice, but I just want to give you information.
I'm going to hand you back over to her. Steve, I'm going to hand you back over to her. I just wanted to get that out right now. Folks, This is mega huge because this is the plan for the whole United States. And, Becky, isn't it true that I've seen you quoted in the news and talking to folks on the phone that I've talked to that American Police Force does plan other facilities around the country?
Okay, first of all, I want to explain to people that I have a face for radio, and when Alex came over here and leaned in and yelled into the phone to Steve, my face lit up because I just thought it was funnier than I'll get out. That's the only, I just looked at you and went, oh my God.
There's no Serbs, there's no Muslims, everything's fine?
You know, you're just talking to a nice Montana girl right now. Steve, let me get back on topic. I need to get back.
Boy.
I know you are. That's why we're talking. No, I want to get back on topic for just a minute. But if you would please give me the opportunity to respond to the question that we were on when Alex came over and cracked me up. And we were talking about what I was saying was the only way that law enforcement services can be delivered in Montana is through a local governmental entity. Now, that's the city of Hardin. And I'm sure you understand, and I think your Montana listeners understand, but your audience is much larger than that. So give me 3 minutes to explain the context of why Hardin doesn't have a police force. Do we have time to do that?
Absolutely.
Okay. Back in 1976, Hardin and Bighorn County took advantage or used the structure allowed under Montana law to consolidate their law enforcement services. By doing so, the sheriff's office provides all in law enforcement within the city of Hardin, in addition to all of Bighorn County. There has been negotiations between the city and county, most recently, that have come to the point that they are choosing to deconsolidate law enforcement, and Hardin will create its own police department. Now, folks, think about it. It is incredibly expensive to create, to develop, to build from the ground up a police department. And this community is going to try and do that in one of the poorest counties in the state of Montana. So that amplifies the challenges. This summer, when TRA, Two Rivers Authority, Hardin's economic development arm, was working with representatives of APF to... Alex is leaning in at me again, and I jumped.
Becky, hold on one second. Steve, I just want to bring up Article 2, Section 33 of the Montana Incorporation as a state and the legislature and the duly convened powers of the people in the sovereign state of Montana in the United States. It says, importation of armed persons, no armed person or persons of armed body of men shall be brought into the state for the preservation of peace or the suppression of domestic violence except upon application of the legislature or of the governor when the legislature cannot be convened for further... And then it goes on. Now, here's the issue. They did put the decals on the cars. The head of the Port Authority, as they call it, Two Rivers, has said that it's a wish list. You know, the point is you got a 14-time felon. You've got all this secrecy. They won't tell us who the owner of the company is. Becky, you're nice to talk to us, and we appreciate it. But people are concerned and freaked out about all of this because every red flag you could push up is popping up. We've got Arabs. We've got Serbs. We've got Germans. We've got Brits crawling all over the place around here. The people are freaking out. I mean, is this some type of Red Dawn scenario, Becky?
Alex, if you quit taking the phone away from me, you'd know that we were already talking about that. Stay and listen or leave me alone, buddy. Come on. Okay, here's the deal. So, as part of meeting the needs of the city of Hardin, where we're coming in and we're going to be a neighbor, Hardin said, we need help with infrastructure. APF said, we want to provide your first vehicles. we'll bring them in. You can have the vehicles. Now, this was before I was hired with APF. The decision was made to buy temporary prototype magnetic placards to go on the doors that would say, that would let the people of Hardin know what their police vehicles could look like. One of the things that your kind viewers who took those pictures and provided to you of the decals, right, Steve? You got those pictures. Alex said he did.
Yes, I did.
Hello? Okay. The thing that they missed was the sign on the back window that said, not for official use in transport only.